It's me. I'm here. I'm doing a live. Don't you love how I just never tell you guys when I'm doing a live? I just do them. Isn't it just so spontaneous and fun? All right, I'm going to let people come into the room, and then I am going to share this video on Facebook and, those places. Settle in. I've got myself a mug of tea. I've got a smoothie. I've got a water. So this is not going to hydrate me. It's going to dehydrate me because it has caffeine in it. But this will hydrate me. This is going to keep me full. I did Splendid Spoon, if you guys have heard of that. Okay, let's go to Vanity Fair. Tell them I'm live. Go ahead and like this video if you haven't already. Oh, shoot. I just said I was live and then didn't post the video. Dumb. Edit, post. Paste. Save. You know what? We were having a discussion and Mickey brought up the fact that we haven't seen Lou Guy in a minute. I don't know if you guys know who Lou Guy is, but she is a part of like me and Chris's YouTube family. And we haven't seen her. So we just wanted to know that she's okay. She's doing well. So if you guys are on these internet streets and you run into Lou Guy on YouTube somewhere, just let her know that over here at 90 Day Fiancé with Wa and Chris, we were just wondering if she's okay. Okay. Hi, 63 people in the room, 18 likes. If I can get some thumbs up, that would be great. And we're going to get started. Welcome to you guys who finally made it live. All right, so hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After. Let me do that again. Welcome to my recap of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, Season 5, Episode 7, The Best Mistake of My Life. Okay. You like how I can just turn that on? Great. She's a professional. Aspasia, welcome. Thank you so much for being my moderator today. The faux fashionista. Oh my gosh. Kayla, thank you so much for the super chat. Hi, Wa. I just wanted to say I love you and your vids. I'm glad that you take the time to create them for us. Have an incredible day. Thank you. Thank you, Kayla. So I had a conversation with my therapist yesterday, and as I do every 2 weeks, and I was telling him that I wasn't as motivated to make these videos, and so I feel like I'm sort of cheating my audience by doing live videos. But honestly, you guys, this pandemic is really getting to me, and it's not frozen me to where I can't get out of bed. My anxiety, however, is at an all-time high, and I'm not feeling creative. And I'm not feeling like taking the time to put on makeup and set up lights and camera and do all that. It's just not in my spirit right now. And to force it would mean that I would be giving you guys bad content and or not creating content at all. And so doing these lives is a really happy medium for the both of us, like for you guys and for me. I want to keep you entertained. I want to communicate with you. There's shows that I'm watching, like Indian Matchmaker, that I would love to talk about, but filming a video and then editing it is just not in my cards these days. There's too much going on. I'm lucky that I have a job. There's good things happening in my life, but just the way the world is now, it's just really, I'm riddled with anxiety. And when I'm at home, all I want to do is chill. So if this is a way for me to chill and give you guys some content and support you guys and show you guys that I'm still here and I'm a human too, and for you to get a little laughter and to communicate with me, I'm here to do that for you, but I won't be able to be filming any videos and creating that kind of content until my body has settled down some more. And when that happens, girl, the videos will come and you'll see them. I just can't force them right now. Okay. Anyways, I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves too. But here's this. Let's start with, this is what I wrote down, the first quote of the evening. This goes to show that I have to tell you everything what to do in your life. Said by Andre. So this is after the baptism, when they're sitting at the table with his sister-in-law and his brother, and he turns to Libby and he asks her if she's wearing the cross, and she says no, that you didn't tell me I had to wear it. And his response is, this goes to show that I have to tell you everything what to do in your life. Does that, Andre? Does that little action about a culture or a religious edict, or does that goes to show? Is that what? Okay. Andre's being a real asshole, and I don't understand why. And Libby doesn't understand why either. She says that she thinks that he's now come to Moldova and is feeling. I mean, the only way I can describe it is, and this is a very much RuPaul's Drag Race terminology, but I really feel like Andre is feeling his PUSSY. You know what I'm saying? He's really feeling it. He is in his element, living his life and feeling like he is the bride, honey. Andre is the bride, and he is going to act all the Zilla. You know what I'm saying? Andre is a bridezilla, and it's a lot. So he says that, so they're both at the airport waiting for Libby's father and brother. And he's like, oh, well, this is going to be really interesting for them to come to an ex-Soviet nation with, poor infrastructure, basically. And so they get to the airport, and he's like, basically, I don't want to be here. I'm not excited to see her family, but whatever, I guess they're here. And Libby's looking at him real side eye. And I think she's just ready to have someone be on her side. I think she's feeling a certain type of way. Also, she likes, if it were me, I'm excited to see my dad and brother too, period, point blank. So dad and brother Charles and Charles Jr., or AKA Chuck and Charlie, show up, and they're kind of annoyed because they're like, our bags are missing. They didn't make it. We sat there for an hour, and they were immediately judging of this situation. Oh, Ramsterdam, thank you so much. You're not alone. I love your lives. I know everyone watching does. You're a landmark in these people's landscape. We love you. Ramsterdam, I love you. Thank you so much for all of your support. Thank you. So Andre is really feeling like, oh, you know what? Sayana said something. Oh my God, SP, lots of love and positive energy, self-care. Thank you so much for the super chat. Is it Sayana? Sayana says it's a type of home field advantage, which Andre and his attitude. Oh, I agree with you so much. Kimology, hey, Kimmy, hey girl. Okay, so it's exactly you guys. Just as Sayana said, he really is acting like, this is my home turf. You can't do anything. I'm impenetrable here. This is my stronghold. You know what I'm saying? Nothing you can do can break me down when I'm here with my peoples. And, to a certain extent, I want that for him. But I feel like the reason why he has the attitude that he has, or the reason why he gets the negative vibes from them that he gets from them in Florida, is because he's such a bull in a china shop. He won't answer their questions. He won't just do what he needs to do to get their support. His whole idea is well, they either like me or they don't. And I'm like, that's not the way to go. But anyways, let's get back to the storyline. So Chuck and Charlie are annoyed because their shit is lost, which I would be absolutely annoyed as well. To be honest, but they are acting like weird Americans who've never left the country, which, happens. And I would be kind of ignorant, I think, too, especially if I were a white male and I'm used to things being my way. So they then start to comment on how small the airport is and how they don't have any arriving flights and they only have departure flights. And I'm like, okay, guys, you don't have to be a dick right away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was actually surprised that Andre gave them like hand slaps and hugs. Like, it was just really interesting that he even did that. I was like, oh, okay, so you guys are on hand slaps and hug basis? Okay, well, anyways, so just so you know, I'm using Healthy Skin by Ancient Cosmetics. Like the YouTube, I'm telling you, Instagram literally has got me purchasing things. Like I can't be on Instagram anymore because I'm trying to save up. I can't buy anything from Instagram. Don't let me buy anything from Instagram. Okay, so they get off, they get to the car, and Chuck and Charlie have a whole plan that they're going to find out all these things about Andre, that they're going to ask him about his past. They're going to ask his family about his past because he's been really evasive for it. Now, he told Libby that the reason why he moved to Ireland is because his friend had a job for him, or his cousin had a job for him and set him up. So he was ready to get out of the Soviet, ex-Soviet country and move to another country. And I don't actually know if he was in North Ireland or South Ireland. I mean, North Ireland or Ireland. You know what I'm saying? Like, was he in like Belfast or was he in Dublin? I don't remember. So anyways, he's like, welcome to Moldova. They get into the car and they immediately start asking questions like, is there a Walmart here? And I thought to myself, is there a Walmart? I didn't... Like, do Americans think that Walmart is an international business? Like, is it? I don't know. But in my mind, Walmart is not an international business. That's like me asking if the Dollar Tree is international. Like, it just, like, Walmart is like, Walmart, okay, listen. My dad loves Walmart, okay? I know a lot of people who love Walmart. I personally love Target. You know what I'm saying? And there is a certain stigma between Target and Walmart. And I would never assume that Target is an international brand, right? So why the hell would Walmart be? And I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying that as an American consumer, it would never cross my mind that Walmart is an international business. Then Charlie asks if Amazon delivers there, which is a better question. No, Amazon does not deliver in Moldova. It's a very small country. And as Andre points out, I think Frankfurt, they landed in Frankfurt first. Or they did a transfer in Frankfurt. And he's like, the Frankfurt airport was really large. This is what Chuck says. And Andre is like, yeah, because they have 5.5 million people, whereas like Moldova has 2.5. So it's like a different business, a different economy, a different country. So it's already starting where Andre is feeling like he needs to defend Moldova. So they're in the car and Chuck and Charlie are both like, so what did you do here? Why did you leave Moldova? And he's like, I was a cop. So then Chuck starts to ask, like, are you speeding? If we get pulled over, what do you do? Andre's like, you would just bribe him. And I'm like, that's not a good look, Andre. Stop saying that. It just annoyed me. I mean, I know that happens in a lot of different countries, but anytime I hear any country where you can bribe the police officers to get out of something, it's not a country that I think has a really strong infrastructure. And I know that as an American, I make a judgment on that. But I definitely, if that's the kind of country that we're in, I'm definitely either going to stay with my family or I'm going to stay to the tourist area, because I can't get in a situation where a police officer is going to expect me to bribe them in order for him to do the right thing. Or to not give me a ticket or whatever. Just give me the ticket, bro. Like, how much is it? 50 pesos here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to be put in that situation. So to hear that makes me now not want to travel to Moldova. It doesn't feel like it's a safe place with a strong infrastructure. So he said that. And then Chuck is like so shocked. And I'm like, Chuck, if you ask the question, then why are you so shocked about the answer? So he's so shocked about that. And then he said, well, when you were a police officer, did you take bribes? And Andre's like, no, I sat in the office. And they're like, what do you mean you sat in the office? And he said, no, I was like a detective. And they both scoff at that. And I'm just like, you guys, if you're working in an environment where all you have to do is pay off the cop, perhaps being a detective isn't the same as being a detective in the US. They're like, when they hear the word detective, they can't believe that he's a detective because they're like, well, then why did you leave? Because they think detectives here in the US make a pretty good living, as far as I know, right? From all my SVU watching. No, they make a pretty good living, right? But maybe not in all countries. Like, that's why police officers take bribes and do stuff, because being a police officer isn't as lucrative or isn't as a good paying or well supported job. So they have to understand that, but they don't understand that. So then there's that. Now they're on a mission to find out whether or not he was really a detective. And I wanted to be like, okay, can you explain to me what a detective does? Does a detective solve murders? Like, does the detective do, like, what does that entail? And have Andre explain it so that you guys, and then be like, so were you not making, because in the US, a detective makes at least $70,000, like, for example. So were you making that? Oh, no, I wasn't making that, Mr. Chalk. You know what I'm saying? Like, ask those questions. Don't just make assumptions. So they get back to his parents' house, and Andre is feeling some type of way. They show the outside of this house, and I know that he feels like her family is going to judge the shit out of their Soviet fucking, what looks like the projects. I am not going to be shady, but in the US, that kind of structure, that kind of building with all the shit on the outside that it had, looks like what we would like in New York projects. That's what it looks like. It looks like, to me, New York City projects, which is not necessarily bad, because that it was a communist country beforehand. And what are they supposed to do? Just tear down all the apartment buildings and raise new apartment buildings? Like, that makes sense. But they had their own little outside foyer where they could take off their shoes. And I was like, okay, that's cute. And so they get in the house, and the mother has laid out a feast, y'all. There was a lot of food on that table that I was like, I would like to try some of those meat and cheese dishes, ma'am. Like a stuffed pepper. What, pray tell, is that pepper stuffed with? Like, okay. That's what I would like to know. And Chuck was really open and loving and supportive, and was like, I want to thank your mother for making this feast for us. And then they were talking about the fact that the mother obviously made all this food in such a tiny kitchen. And I was like, look, I love to see a woman like make shit work. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like refusing to cook in the kitchen in my house until they got it redone. But anyways, so then they start to go in on Andre, right? And asking him, like, why'd you leave here? Why did he leave here? And the brother seemingly is like, yeah, we don't understand why Andre did this. We don't understand why he's not working. And Andre tries to throw Libby under the bus, making it seem like she chose this, which I do believe at some point she probably said, well, since you aren't getting a job, stay home and take care of the baby. But at the same time, I'm sure she would like to not work and stay home and take care of the kids the way all of her sisters do, you know, including her sister-in-law. So when she comes back from putting Eleanor down to sleep, she mentions that Andre is immediately on the defensive, and his brother is like, we don't understand why he's not working either. And then the sister-in-law is, why can't you find him a job? And Chuck is like, I offered to give him a job, but he didn't want to work underneath me. And so now I'm sure they're all looking at Andre's side eye, like, why won't you just take the job and do what you need to do to be, I guess, a man? And he gets upset. Libby gets upset, and she's like, look, we don't have to get married if that's what you want. We don't have to. Fine. Because he is being a fucking bridezilla, and I think at this time she's tired of it. Plus, she finally has her family to back her up. And Chuck is like, what? I just flew to Moldova and got my bags lost. This wedding is happening. So anyways, that's the end of them. I spent a lot of time talking about them because I had some real feelings about it. Whew. Norma Star says, my husband is Russian. My mother-in-law always sets out a feast like that for every family meal we have together. She's an amazing cook, and her meals are marvelous. Oh, that sounds delicious. Okay, I don't enjoy cooking. Like, listen, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't bring me joy to cook. I will cook. But then when I cook and I eat the food, it does not taste good because I have watched it be made. It's like I can't taste it. Excuse me. Now, some things that I do make are delicious, and I'm like, ooh, I can make this all the time. But there are other things I'm just like, I can't. Especially I can't eat it if it's leftovers too. I can't do it. And everybody else will be like, ooh, this is good. And I'm like, oh, I'm tired. But other people's food I can eat to the end of time. Okay. let's move on to Colt, Debbie, and Jess's family. This was a nice little shit show. Okay, so where we start off is Jess and Colt and Debbie getting into a van, going to Jess's family's home, which it is a beautiful home. Okay, it looks like it has a pool that's covered up right now. It's beautiful. It's like a nice like ranch style home with an outdoor like party slash cooking area. It's like a whole covered cooking like kitchen outside, and you can just so beautiful. And so this leads me to, I hope Debbie takes in this information and goes, oh, so this isn't a poor girl from a poor community who's just trying to latch onto my son to get to the US. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jess doesn't have to marry Colt. She has ways of staying in the US. She has her own visa. And I just feel like Debbie is taking this to the nth degree. It's not the same as Larissa. She keeps comparing Jess to Larissa, which Jess does not fucking appreciate. So Colt is there wearing like a suit jacket and like a polo to meet the dad. And everybody does the double kisses. And it seems really like it's going to be a really fun and good time. Debbie doesn't like Jess's dad. And it's unclear why. It's unclear. She says it in her confessional, but it's unclear like why. But based on their interaction, what we saw filmed, there's no reason for her to not to like the dad. So when they sit down to eat, and also there's a man there who his name is Hans, which I imagine that means that he's like Dutch or something. Like, I was like, is he Norwegian? Is he from the Netherlands? Like, is he from that northern, like, is he a descendant of the Vikings? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, does he speak English? Or does he just speak maybe Dutch or Finnish or whatever his language is and Portuguese? I don't know. It was just interesting. So I always like when there's other people there who speak both languages so that any like confusion can be cleared up. So the dad then says, because someone spilled the beans and that someone is Debbie. So they give Debbie and Colt a skewer of chicken hearts, and Debbie and Colt eat it and say it's delicious. Debbie later on says that she would never eat it again because it wasn't good. I don't personally like liver, so I don't imagine what a chicken heart tastes like. I just don't like organs. And so I thought that was the proper thing to do for her to eat the food that was presented in front of her, you know what I'm saying, and not be rude. So I was like, 1 point for Debbie. And then when they sit down and someone serves like pork and rice or something, Debbie's like, oh, this looks familiar. And Jess picks up on that all of a sudden. It's like, why does it look familiar? And I know Colt is probably like, fuck, Mom, shut up. Just eat the food. And so she's like, oh yeah, I think Larissa cooked something like this before. So then it's like, Jess is upset, right? She's already like mildly upset. So then she tells her dad, oh, his ex-wife was Brazilian. Did you know that? And the dad's like, okay, so how long were you married to this ex-wife? And he says 6 months. I didn't realize that they had only been married for 6 months before they got a divorce. That shit is crazy. So they've only been married for 6 months. And then the dad asks, what was the time frame between you breaking up with Larissa or your divorce and you meeting Jess? And he says 6 months, which to me sounds like a lie. I feel like he started dating or at least talking to Jess probably while he was still married to Larissa or during the divorce. Like, we know that Colt is out in these streets getting all these attentions from these girls, I feel like Jess must have seen the show and reached out to Colty. Like, I have no qualms to think that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? No reservations to believing that. So the dad is like, okay, well then what's your intentions with my daughter? And you know what? I just wish they had hired an interpreter because Jess's like sign language and English translation is not good. It's just not good. She doesn't speak English well enough to be able to be translating. And like, it's just not good. Okay. So she then relays this information back to the dad. And instead of saying, what are your intentions with my daughter? She translate like, what do you want with me? I was just like, girl, this is not. So he then Colt has to like think about like what the question is being asked of him. And then he says really seriously and really earnestly, I want to marry your daughter. I love her. I want to have children with her. And then behind him, Debbie's head fucking explodes because she is like, you are married to me, son. Okay. I don't understand why all of a sudden you want to have a family and you want to have kids. Like, you and our lineage is going to die with us. And so the dad is like, okay, that's good. That's good. And the sister or his sister or her aunt is like, well, then great. We'll have a wedding here at my house. And Debbie is just like, wait a minute. Don't you think the kids are moving kind of fast? What's the rush? And so then it comes out that Debbie was living in sin with her husband for 6 months before they got married. And now she's upset with this situation. So my thing is that why don't you suggest that they go on ahead and live in sin for 6 months? Because that's what she has left on her visa. And if they decide to get married at the end of it, then get married and then apply for the spousal visa or whatever. Like, Debbie is just like out of her mind. She's like, you're moving too fast. Like, I have all these questions, like Colt's never talked to me about wanting to have kids and like blah, blah, blah. I mean, and she goes in and Jess then gets fucking disrespectful. Okay. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat, Umi. Jess gets fucking disrespectful. She's putting her hands up. She's like, don't compare me to Larissa. You keep comparing me to Larissa. I'm not the same. And then this is where I'm like, how come her dad didn't stop in and stop her from acting that way? Because I don't care if my dad can't understand what the other person is saying. Never in my life would my father allow me, or would I be able to be comfortable to speaking to an elder in any kind of like telling them, fuck you. Okay. No. Nope. No. Nope. 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 She's rude. And I know somebody else there speaks English. And so it should have been like, just calm down. So then she's like, okay, I'm ready to go. I think I'm ready to go. So she gets up to go. And Colt is like, you want me to get you a car home? And she's like, you're not going to come with me? And then he's like, no, I'm going to send you home. And he's like, so Debbie thought she was going to win that fight because she saw Jess get very hype and too much. And then she was like, oh, so I can see a little bit of comparison between her and Larissa. And so I'm like, oh, so I don't think Colt might have called the police on Larissa every single time. I feel like, I know Debbie did one time call the police on her, but you get what I'm saying? So like, I've always been on team Larissa, but like, this is like really showing some definitely, oh my God, Melanie, thank you so much for the super chat. I got to finish this. Hold on. Is it good? No, but it's, semi-palatable. So Melanie agrees with me, girl. She agrees with me. Okay. So then Colt pats Debbie on the back and puts her in the van home. And Debbie says that she's scared because she doesn't know Brazil and, she's never been out of the country. And so she felt like that he just put her on a bus or on a van and just sent her back to the hotel, and she was scared the whole time. And I was like, girl, Debbie, if you were scared the whole time, you should have stayed your ass in the US, because you had to have known that there was going to be some times where he was going to be off with his girl. Too much. So then they, I guess, party the rest of the day, the night away. Now that Debbie is gone, Debbie Downer is gone. And so the next morning, this fake ass, I'm hungover, look at my cockatoo hair look that Colt has got going on. He literally walks in off the elevator to get to his mom's room, and he's like, and then he goes and gets some coffee and like a croissant, and he's like, hi, Mom. And then Debbie's like, I don't appreciate the way that, Jess talked to me yesterday. She put her hand in my face and she did this. And he's like, oh, well, I don't really remember. And I'm like, first of all, you were not drunk when that shit happened. You remember putting your mom in the car, right? Why do you think you put your mom in the car? oh, fake ass situation. And they had his hair all up. Like, I'm like, come on, producers. You could have did a better job than that. So Debbie lays out her, oh, what's happening over here? Nyla says what? I don't know what Nyla says. I'm Brazilian. We are definitely taught to respect our elders. This little girl was just a disrespectful brat. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand why her father didn't stop her. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why her father didn't stop her from being disrespectful. She took it too far. She really, really did. So anyways, so Debbie starts to lay out like all of her trepidation with Jess to Colt, and Colt is just like looking at her, you know, just kind of staring at her because he's pretending to be sick and that he's got a bad hangover and he doesn't understand what's going on. He doesn't remember the night. He just knows he had a good time with her family, and Debbie's ruining this thing for him. And then he says, I think my mother is jealous of Jess. I think I'm starting to see how my mother is jealous of Jess. So he plays, again, both sides. He's like Libby in the fact that he plays both sides. You know, he like, when it's convenient for him and when it's something that he wants, he's not on Debbie's side. But when it's convenient for him and it's something that he doesn't want, he is on Debbie's side. So Debbie's trying to show him all the red flags. And then later on, Debbie says that she will do everything in her power to make sure that Jess and Colt do not marry. So we're like, okay. And then they're walking on the beach, as Brazilians do. And he tries to explain to Jess how rude she was to his mother. And Jess is like, you're a baby boy. Like, you're a big, you know, baby, because he's 34 years old and his mother still does his laundry and cooks for him, right? And so she tried to like basically say that and say how Debbie coddles him and all that stuff. And it's just not translating well. And it's just coming off as her being like aggressive and angry. And so they're walking down the beach holding hands, but at some point they're not holding hands anymore. Colt is just holding her by the wrist. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I posted that, like, why is Colt holding her by the wrist as they walk down the beach? And he tries to call her a daddy's girl, and she's just like, it's different than that. And Colt is like, no, my mom is sick and I am all that she has. Like, period. If your father were the same way, you would be you would be with your dad as well. And I'm like, no, it's not the same. I understand what Jess is saying and I understand what Colt is saying. Here's the deal though. Mothers have a very bad tendency of coddling their sons in a way that sometimes they don't do to their daughters. Okay. Now, obviously the show Smothered, the women are doing it to their daughters. But the fact that Colt is 34 years old and doesn't wash his own laundry, like, my question is do you know how to wash laundry? Like, do you wash any of the laundry? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know how to use the washing machine? So it's like, it doesn't matter that your mother washes your clothes, but the truth is, it's like, how would you survive if your mother wasn't there? That's my question. Do you make your own bed up, or does your mom make your bed up? Do you cook your own meals, or does your mom cook all your meals? Like, those are the things that I think is important, because if it were a daughter and father scenario, like, yes, if I were to live alone with my father, there are certain things my father doesn't do. One of those things is wash clothes. He's just never done it. Another thing is, like, I was trying to show him how to load the dishwasher, which we're finally allowed to use. I'm like, 37 years old and using a dishwasher for the first time in my life. Like, not the very first time, but I mean consistently for the first time this entire week. The last 5 days, in fact. The last 7 days. So, like, and I'm like, Dad, this is how you do it. He's like, no, I'm not learning how to load the dishwasher. I'm like, but my dad washes dishes and my dad cooks. He is the cook. He's the cook and he's the dishwasher, but he doesn't mop. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, he never mops. He never washes his clothes. So, like, I do understand that there are certain things that some people and some men don't do in their household, right? But can Colt do any of those things? If Jess were alone with her father who was sick, would her father be washing her clothes? That's my thing. It's like, Debbie doesn't look sick to me. If she washes his clothes and makes his meal, how is she sick? Not to say that she isn't sick. I'm not denying that she is, but like, is she sick enough to where he needs to be with her all the time? That's what I'm saying. I've spent so much time talking about them. I feel like I need to move on. What are you guys saying? The Speedo was stressed. Hi, Bella, Jasmina. You're right. Wonder how long Colty slept with his mom until he's 18, probably. Yes, dishwasher. Love a man that cooks. How is Debbie sick, yet she lives her life as a full-time maid? Okay, Nyla. Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, how is she sick? Not to say that she isn't on disability, not to say that she doesn't have ailments, but I'm saying she's not sick enough to not live on her own. They have a 2-story home in which she goes from one story to the next. Like, to me, it's like, oh, my mother doesn't get around very much. If it was like her hip and she can't go upstairs, there seems seemingly nothing wrong with Debbie to where she can't do housework. Maybe she can't go out and work, but she can do housework. She can walk up and downstairs and she can do laundry. She can cook. She can wash dishes. So Colt needs to be doing those things as well. Anyways, that's what I have to say about that. Is that all I have to say about that? Let's see. Oh, he also gets very frustrated with Jess on the beach because he says that she demoralizes him by calling him a mama's boy. And I'm just like, Colt is just like so annoying. And Debbie's just like, okay, I'm not Debbie. Jess is just like, okay, like, what do you want from me? And he's like, I want you to understand my position and I want you to understand that my mother is sick and I'm going to be taking care of her. And Jess is just like, it really is too much. Like, Colt is I tell you, the kind of girl that Colt wants is not going to get along with Debbie. And it's not going to be American. Let's move on to Angela and Michael. So we have Angela and Michael driving to the market, and Angela's still pissed off about him trying to hang out with other women. And Michael's just kind of like, whatever. He has a shirt that says dry on, and she has a shirt that says flawless. And, they are really comfortable with each other. Like, Angela is 100% herself with Michael. To the point where, like, it is so interesting, like, to see this man take care of her the way he does. He really does take care of her. Some of these people go to these foreign countries and the foreigner doesn't take care of them or doesn't support them, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Michael really does show Angela love and support. That is so undeserved because I don't understand what she does for him. Maybe she pays for his lifestyle. Maybe she pays for him. Maybe that's why he doesn't work anymore. Why doesn't he work anymore? Like, it's just a lot of questions. Anyways, so they get to the market because he's like, my mother's coming over and you have to cook for my mother. You have to cook Nigerian food for my mother. And this is like the blind leading the blind, because I'm pretty sure that Michael doesn't know how to cook, doesn't know how to cook any Nigerian meals, but for some reason he expects Angela to pull it out of her butt to be able to do it. And Angela is so anti-cooking for his mother that, like, I don't understand quite why. Like, remember, she didn't want to cook the plantains last time when they were at the siblings' house the time she came before, and I didn't understand why she didn't want to go cook. Like, here's the deal: when she gets back to America and decides not to cook anything, like, that's fine. But if it's culture for her to be in the kitchen with the other women or to be serving, like, girl, just do it. But she's really about not giving up her Americanness for the 2 or 3 weeks that she's in Nigeria, which I don't quite understand. I just don't quite understand it. So Angela is not cooking, Michael. So they get to go get cooking oil and he doesn't know how to do anything. And so she's kind of pushing him and being like, no, I'm not doing this. So yeah, is this what it is? Michael, you better ask her if this is the right cooking oil. And the lady, who is happy to be on camera, is just so pleasant. And she's like, yes, you know what? You need to take care of your woman. And I'm just like, love the cooking oil lady. Then we get to the rice lady. And I'm telling you right now, I have been stared at by girlfriend of women the same way that this woman, the rice woman, is staring at Angela and Michael. Just like, I mean, that stare down was just, I mean, it was just like, it was, I mean, the stare down. And it's not until the woman realizes that I'm Garifuna, or that, like, you know, like, what's your name? I'm like, Wahima. They're like, oh, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, and I'm just like, nah, bitch, you was giving me a mad shade stank face for a minute. Okay. Don't try to be my friend now. Don't be smiling in my face now. That woman was, I was just like, it was making me uncomfortable the way that woman was staring at them. And then Angela was like, no, is there rice in a bag? I don't want the rice on top. And I get it. There, you know, I understand where she's coming from, but the thing is, though, you could definitely clean the rice. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that leads me to believe, does Angela clean the rice when she's at home? Because I clean the rice. Like, you let the rice soak, maybe put it in some vinegar. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be fine. When you cook the rice in boiling water, the germs go away. So I get what she was saying, but like at the same time, I'm like, there are ways to get around that. Like, it's like the people who've never bought bagged beans and they've only ever bought canned beans, which is nothing wrong with it. And they're like confused on how do you cook beans. And I'm like, well, first you like lay them out on a flat surface. You pull the beans towards you or in a colander that's like looks good. You move all the rocks. You move all the weird looking beans out of the way. You know, put all the beans in the colander that you have like right below the surface of the flat surface, you know what I'm saying? And then you put the beans in the colander underneath the water, you rinse them, you let them soak if that's how you want to do it, you know what I'm saying? Because that's your business. Miss Tabitha Brown, give you some of that if that's your business. And then you boil them. So anyway, she's like, give me some rice at the center. And I'm like, it's all dirty rice. Angela, don't matter if it's on top or not. And so then the lady she's like, I want a rice in a bag. And the lady just gets a black bag, pours the rice in it, and it's so hilarious. The shade. So then they get the rice, and then they go to look for tomatoes, and then they do that, and then he's like, we have to get meat, we have to get goat. And I'm like, if you don't know how to cook, Michael, why are you trying to get goat right now? And then they go on the goat part, and I know it smells. And Angela having the shirt over her nose like a kid in a public space, just like, was really weird and disrespectful, but at the same time, I understood where she was coming from. Now, would I have it over my nose? No. But would I have gotten the hell out of there? Absolutely. And it's like, I feel like the only thing holding Angela back was that she couldn't move fast enough to get past Michael. Like, Michael was stopping her. And then Michael was like, she pushed me out of the way. Like, she pushed me into the gutter. Like, you know, she really, I don't understand why she didn't want to be there to see the goat's head. And I'm just like, oh no. And then when she was like drinking, every time I think Angela's about to drink some water to clear her palate, it's never water. It's always Coke. And I'm like, Angela, drink some water, sis. I'm so glad that his air conditioning works in his car. I'm sure that she pays him specifically so that he can make sure that the air conditioning in his car is up to standard. Because she's like, now I'm hot, Michael. Now I'm hot. And she's like running away from the goat and like vomiting. She's like, I'm a hypochondriac, Michael. And Michael is like, it's okay, baby. It's okay. And he like wipes the vomit off of her shirt. Listen. Michael takes care of Angela, y'all. Michael takes care of Angela. Whew. So the next scene, I get to the house and she's like, I'm not cooking. I'm just going to answer the door. You going ahead and make the food. Mother and sister or sister-in-law walk in and they're surprised to see Michael cooking. They make comment on that. Michael then explains like a good spouse the reason why he's in the kitchen cooking and that the fact that Angela's going to be working, and Angela's very like, she's like, I can't be in the kitchen cooking. Like, I work too much. I have too many people to take care of. Like, I'm not going to be in this kitchen cooking, which I absolutely get. Like, I 100% understand. And I love that Michael explains it to his mother, because I feel like if this were any other man, like Andre or what are these other dumb men? I don't know, that they would be like, well, I think she's just going to have to find time to cook. And it's like, no, Michael's like, I need to do this because she's going to be working. I'm not going to be working. And they're just like, okay. And so then they get pizza. She ordered a pizza. And thank you, Erica. Thank you for the super chat. And so Michael is just insistent that his mother is not going to want this pizza. And so then they bust out the pizza, which was Angela's idea, and they eat the pizza, and the mom likes the pizza. So it's a happy ending. Okay? It's a happy ending. But the sister-in-law, she's still looking side-eye, like. And then the mother's like, blessings on you and your children. And Angela's feeling like a liar. I'm like, you are a liar, girl. They eat pizza and pray for children. Okay, so now we move to Larissa. And Larissa's quote of the evening is, people think I'm ultra sexy, but I'm a nerd on the inside. Okay, Larissa. So Larissa moves in with Eric. Eric comes and picks her up and gets all her stuff. And then they get to his house. He has a roommate who likes to play video games, and so does Larissa. She likes Bloodborne, which she says like Bloodborne, and the guy doesn't understand what she's saying. And then she gets her own room. So I'm like, are you paying rent, sis? Like, you know, you have the money to pay rent. So like, I assume she's paying rent. And so she then has to tell her friend Hannah that she's moving in with Eric. And so Hannah says that she supports. Thank you so much, Shanti, for the super chat. I appreciate it. So then she tells her friend Hannah that she is marrying, or no, that she moved in with Eric. And Hannah is confused because, I'm going to have to close my eyes. I'm getting all jumbled. Hannah is confused because Larissa has told her all these negative things about Eric, about how he's basically a loser. He never pays for anything. Like, you know, just all this stuff that to me, I did not know. In my mind, I thought Eric was like a professional. Like, he dresses and carries himself in a way that would lead me to believe that, like, I don't know what I thought he did, but I thought he like made his own money and was like a professional. So I was really shocked to find out he had a roommate. I honestly was. And so I was like, okay. And so when she says that he's cheap and that he never wants to pay, I didn't realize that she literally had to pay for everything. So it's starting to become really clear of how much of a loser Eric is. And that's why Carmen doesn't like him and kicked her out. And Hannah is even shocked and is just like, I don't think this is the right thing to do. So this is really very interesting. And so I'm just like, is Larissa's self-esteem so low? And is she so desperate to be in a relationship with someone that she would settle for Eric again when she already broke up with him? And so I guess so. So she rifles through Eric's phone and finds out, you know what I also wanted to know? Because she goes to this place that does food prepping, does she get money from that company for setting up a deal between her and TLC? And I hope she does. Because if that's so, she's great. Making her own money. Anyways, because she lost a lot of weight. And I know she lost a lot of weight from like changing her eating habits. And so I'm just like, ow, my legs. So I'm just like, yeah, is this something that she's like setting up? Because I hope so. I really hope Larissa is making her money going to all of these places to get shit done. And they pay her because she's the liaison to get this shit done to herself. Anyways, so she then goes through Eric's phone, finds this girl that he was texting while they were broken up, calls the girl. I'm like, Larissa is the queen of calling people's new girlfriends or ex-girlfriends. Calls the girl. The girl then tells her how Eric bashed her in front of his family, in front of her, talked about her sex, talked about how he and Colt met up. And I knew that him and Colt met up. Remember, that was the big thing on the streets, on the Instagram streets, that Colt and Eric had like met up to talk about Larissa. And like, Larissa is just like, tell me everything. Tell me all of it. And the girl drops the tea. Okay. Whew. That's a lot. I would feel super betrayed. And this leads me to believe that she just needs to get out of this environment, like 100%. She just needs to leave anybody from her season 1 or season 2 behind and move forward. She really does. Whew. Then she jumps off the phone because Eric comes home, and the next episode she's gonna do a showdown with him. Okay. So then we have Kalani and Asuelu, which like, girl, Asuelu is a giant kid, and like, who cares? So Asuelu says that he's not going to throw the bus at Kalani anymore, and then he gets on the phone with her mother. Then she gets on the phone with his mother, Skype, and then proceeds to throw the bus at her. So since they can't go back to Samoa, they decide to go up to Washington to see his mother and his sister. So Asuelu has family in the US. I guess he just wanted to go back to Samoa because I guess there's two sides of Samoa, right? There's the American. Oh, Fee, thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat. I guess there's two sides, right? There's American Samoa and there is not American Samoa. The same way with like the Virgin Islands. There's like the British and the American Virgin Islands, and the same thing with like Guam, you know? So a lot of these places have like an American side and a non-American side. And so I guess his mother has a green card to go back and forth to both. And so he has some siblings that's born on the American side and some siblings that is born on the Samoan side. And so the siblings that are born on the American side can come to America and do what they need to do. So Asuelu then has family here, but he says he's not close to them. And so he tells his mother that he was going to go, but because of the measles outbreak, and the mother's like fully in agreement that he shouldn't go and take the kids to Samoa and that they'll have a good opportunity to see the kids at another time. And I know that Kalani's got to feel real vindicated in her spirit because this whole situation that started with him acting a fool in the first place was because she didn't want him to go to Samoa with the kids. And so now she has someone on her side, it's a voice. So they're on Skype with his mother and his sister, which I'm not sure if this is like a dual Skype or they're in different rooms. Don't know. So the sister is just sitting there looking real mean. Like she doesn't look happy at all. Asuelu's mother is very eccentric. Like she got a lot of energy, a lot of Jesus spirit in her. You know what I'm saying? She reminds me of one of those church mothers who love to just pray over people. And so she's got a lot of energy. And Asuelu is the same way too. It's just not on the same level. But yeah, he does have that energy as well. And so it's a cool conversation until he asks his mother, do you need me to bring you anything? And she's like, yes, I need money. And he's like, okay. And then she's like, do you have $1,000 to give me? And I was like, $1,000? $1,000? Not 300? 1,000? I'm sorry. What is it that they think that Kalani and Asuelu do besides this show? Also, they have 2 kids. He works giving out dessert. 1,000? And there is no excuse because she is in America, so she knows how much $1,000 is. So he's like, I don't have 1,000, I have 500. And Kalani doesn't say anything, right? But she's looking like, you better not say you got 1,000 because you're not giving him 1,000. And the sister's like, well, you owe it to us. We're your family. You're supposed to take care of your family. And I'm like, do you send him money? Do you send him, if he were to ask you for $1,000, sis, would you send him $1,000? I don't understand. Is it because he's the man? I just was real confused. $1,000 is a lot of money. Okay. 1,000? I'm just, even 500 is like, what do you need the 500 for? For what? Like, that's what I want to know. For what? Like, if you were like, oh, I want to take a trip back to here, or, oh, I need to pay this bill and the total is this. Like, listen, I need to know exactly what this money is for. Like, what are you guys saying? I see Erica shouts me out and says 1,000 is cray. She's exactly the type of mother to raise an adult baby like Asuelu. Then sis said, you better. Yes, Kirby's like, something is wrong with that guy. Part-time, 1K will take him a month to earn. Doesn't this fool online have a part-time job? Oh my God, doesn't matter. It's $1,000. I don't get it. Like, the sister was like, you better pay. What? Can he send me 100? I just need a little cash so that I can go buy something stupid I don't need for the heck of it. Why not? Like, 1,000, you guys? I mean, you better take care of your family. He is, which is why he can't send you $1,000 because he needs to take care of his family. Yo, that shit was bananas wild. Like, bananas wild. Like, to me, 300 is the number you tell me. Okay. 500? What do you need this money for? 1,000? No, I don't know what. No, absolutely not. Fuck you. I mean, not to my mom, but you know what I'm saying? In my mind. No, absolutely not. 100% negative ghostwriter. That's a negative ghostwriter. Like, the fuck? Yo, I just was like, I was like, like 1,000? I'm gonna need an itemized, you're gonna have to give me a budget. I'm gonna need to know what you need that money for. You better not ask me for no money for 2 years. Like, absolutely not. Okay. Is that the end? Oh no, Paul and Karine. So Paul gets this little ass studio apartment in the trailer park for them, and Karine likes it, and he has these 2 dogs that have a big, almost the same size house, a kennel, as the apartment, or the little studio apartment that he got. And Karine's happy. So I'm happy if Karine's happy. That was a small ass fucking space, but it was clean, had a refrigerator, bathroom, closet, kitchen, like, a sink and a stove. And she was happy. I feel like that bed is a little too big for the space. So part of me is like, not maybe a pull-out bed, but don't they have the, like, I wish, what they should make? They should make a sofa bed combination. You know how they have those beds that are like up against the wall and you pull it down? So the sofa was in there, but what I want them to have is the kind of bed. Is it called a Murphy's bed? I don't know, but like if it goes flush against the wall, and it's like as obviously as thick as a mattress, and then you can literally pull it down. But then when you're not using it, you put it up. And then sometimes it has storage space on the sides. Oh, it is a Murphy bed. Yes. I can't believe I remembered that. Like, Murphy bed. Like, I want them to have that. Oh, yeah, it's on the gossip sites. What's on the gossip sites? Oh, you know what I also saw on Instagram? And this is a spoiler. So spoiler alert. If you don't want to hear the spoiler, go on ahead and put me on mute for 30 seconds. Okay. Spoiler alert. Put me on mute. Put me on mute. Put me on mute. Spoiler alert. Let me actually find it while you do it. It's on Instagram. It was 90 Day Fiancé tea. And it's because I don't care about these couples really. 90 Day Fiancé tea. Uh-oh. Oh, I put 9 day. These nails, I can't handle it. Was it 90 Day Fiancé tea? No, I guess it was a 90 Day Fiancé tea. Did they have a new page? Damn it. Boo. Is it 90 Day Beyonce? Oh yeah, it was 90 Day Beyonce. So it's 90 Day Fiancé Muse. Okay, so put me on mute now. Ready? Go. So this is what these Jess, Larissa, and Mother Debbie said after Sunday night's episode. Larissa posts this. One of the best things that happened to me this season was becoming close friends with Jessica. They hoped we would argue and try to stab one another, but that never happened. Instead, we understood each other with great respect. Next, this is from Jess. Watching the show yesterday, I see how people were playing nice in front of me, but did everything they could to try to sabotage my relationship behind my back. Thank God my family only made me proud this entire time. They opened the door of their house. They made traditional foods and drinks. They gave gifts. They were nice. However, they were still badmouthed by people who have no idea what family values or family who love each other are, or family love are. Mommy was too worried about her son getting another Brazilian to use him or the history repeats itself, but she forgot to teach him not to cheat again, manipulate, and not lie again. Instead, she was covering his lies and cheating scam this whole time. If I knew true, I would never introduce them to my family. Part of me was wondering why she didn't apologize for her behavior. So, like, as much as I feel like she's right in the fact that Colt is not to be trusted, and Debbie did say one thing in front of her face, but she had to know that Debbie wasn't down for her. So it's not a total stab in the back, but also apologize to Debbie for being fucking rude. Okay, next. From Debbie. There was once an evil villain. This red-headed vixen set her eyes on her prey. She tracked him down, knowing how vulnerable he was. Her sexuality was very powerful. Her eyes remained on the prize. Her dreams could come true, but only if mommy stepped aside. Will her dream come true? She asks herself. My visa, my K1 visa. I was like, Debbie, did you just give us a poem? Anyways. So obviously Jess and Colt are not together. Larissa and Jess are friends, and Debbie is still defending her scamming ass, gaslighting ass son. So there's that. But yeah. So this is what I put about Paul and Karine. Paul is more concerned about his dogs. Small studio apartment for 2 people. Dog kennel is gigantic. Karine likes the little house. And this is what I put about Kalani and Asuelu. Kalani on a swivel with the kids at the park after California. Asuelu will not throw Kalani the bus. Going to Washington, FaceTime with Asuelu's family. They didn't come to his wedding, so, Kalani's feeling a certain type of way about that, which I'm like, why? Asuelu's mom is kooky. She speaks more English than Asuelu. You don't need to go to Samoa, but you should give us $1K. Throws the bus at Kalani. All right, you guys, that is the end of this video. I did it in an hour. I'm so proud of myself. Let's see what you guys are saying here. All right. Oh, spoiler alert is over. Debbie is the worst. Debbie is nuts. Colt looks like an upright walking elephant in a swimsuit. Oh, wow. Fee, can we get Deb to date someone from Brazil? Maybe she'll change her mind. Uranus rising. Shonda says, hi, Wa from Antigua. Hi. Who gave Debbie the Wi-Fi password? Love you all. Take care of yourself. Thank you, Dinah. Me Shannon. Hey girl. Debbie can't date anyone. She loves Colt. Oh, thank you. Thank you guys. Did you see Asuelu's mom do make it rain hands? Oh yeah, I did see that. The sister, I think, did it. I don't know, but it was just like, that's that real bad with me. That's that real bad with me when she was like $1,000. You like, give me $1,000. Like, I want the rules. You know what I'm saying? So the rule is what? What is the rule about giving money to the family? Is it that the sons are expected to pay their mother and their sisters and their, like, I want to know what the rules are. Was Lo expected to do that? Or was his family all here? But even if they were here, was he expected to give money to his mom? I know that it's an expectation, right? But I guess my immigrant family wasn't like that because my grandmother came to the US before any of her kids. So, and even so, she had 8 kids. So like, if they could spare like $200, they would, but it was never like, I mean, honestly, I don't know if my grandmother ever asked for any money, but my grandmother was all over the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, she worked in Belize. She went to Guatemala to work in Guatemala. She had like, out of her 8 children, she had 3 of them or 4 of them in Guatemala because that's where she was working at the time. At a canning factory, which is one of the bigger employers in the area at the time. So, Belize and Guatemala are really close together. It's just like a 3-hour bus ride down and then like a 30-minute boat ride over, right? So like, maybe a little bit more, like 45-minute boat ride. So like I've been on those boats and I've been on those buses and my granny did that shit when it was like no air conditioning, son. Like she did it. I mean, there was no air conditioning when I did it, but like she did it when it was like old school shit. Like she did it in the 40s. You know what I'm saying? My dad is born in 48. Granny was on a fucking like lancha in like the Caribbean Ocean, like Caribbean Sea, like what? When I think of my granny like in Guatemala, in Puerto Barrios, like having kids, I'm like, yo, Granny was out there doing it, okay? Margaret was in them streets. Cecilia Cecilia Margaret Ciego was out there, like, doing it, taking care of her kids, and then working in a canning factory, which is like the biggest employer. Imagine you have to go to another country. I mean, it's, it's not super far. It's not the farthest trip, but it's still like a 4-hour situation to get to another country to go and work so you can take care of your kids. And like, her kids were all over the place. Some of them are resentful, you know what I'm saying? But most of them realized that like my granny did what she had to do. And then like, then she came to America, left them all there, settled everything in America, and then systematically brought them over. And I'm not even talking about young kids, okay? She went to Guatemala working when they were young. She came to America when they were like in their teens and 20s. So like she brought my uncle over. She brought so many people over, like so many of her kids over. Not all of them, but most of them she brought over. So I'm just like, I just don't get that. Like, to me, if Granny needed money, she needed money. She's like, Wahima, I need this. I'm like, I'm on it, Granny. What do you need? Because she always did what I asked her to do. If I was like, Granny, I want bun, she's over there making bun for me. So like, I'm like, what is this mama doing? What is she doing for Asuelu? Did she bring him to the US? Did she like get him his green card? Did she like help him get? No. And I'm not to say that doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve anything, but my question is like, I guess my example of a woman who to me deserves whatever money she wants. You need a pedicure, Granny, I'm taking you. Like, you want me to massage your knee? I got you. Like, my grandmother died like 10 years ago, but she wasn't one of these women who was just like, I had children, now my children owe me stuff. Like, it was more so like $1,000. Granny would never ask for $1,000. What you need $1,000 for? Like, I just don't get it. Like, Melanie says, I know why. I don't understand this crazy custom of parents expecting this from their kids. I'm a Colombian. My parents would never want to gracefully accept a gift from me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, yo, my grandmother was named Margaret. Ah! Some children are so ungrateful. I'll help a granny like yours. Like, I just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I come from that kind of culture. So I understand that you would send money back. But to me, my question is Asuelu her only son? Is Asuelu her only child? Are the girl children expected to send money too? 1,000 is such a lot of money. Like, why not ask for 300? Like, son, if you could spare 300, I'm going to ask your brother for money. It's just like, and it's not the first person to ask for money. I get that it's culture. But, I mean, when I go to Belize, strangers ask me for money. So I get it. 1,000? I think it's the amount that really bothers me and the entitlement that comes behind it. Okay. But then anyways, that's it. Probably the only child that married an American. Okay. All right. But she's in America. She says that she wants to go back to Samoa so that she can work and get stuff done. But in America, all she does is eat. So I'm like, who are you in America with? One of your children, right? One of your children. So, Asuelu's mother has a green card. She can work. She said she was waiting to die because she has nothing to do. Yeah. Yes, Roland, I absolutely agree. So then my question is, like, she understands what $1,000 is. So I think they really must think that Asuelu and Kalani just make so much money from this show that asking for $1,000 is reasonable. But also, my thing is that they have 2 kids. $1,000 is like a lot. What if they want to save for their kids? Especially if there's no emergency. If you needed $1,000 for legal fees, or you needed $1,000 for like medical bills, to me that makes sense. And even so, you sit down with Kalani and Asuelu and you say, hey, I'm asking for $1,000 from all of my kids if they can give it. Anything you can give because these medical bills are really piling up. Like, that's the conversation. It's not just give me $1,000, because once you ask for 1,000, they're going to continuously ask for 1,000. So here's 200. Like, Tammy says, my father was from the Virgin Islands and it was expected to send money back. So he did both, supported his kids and sent money back home for his parents and siblings. How much? 1,000? Did he send 1,000 a month? Teresa, they were just so rude in the way they asked for the money. Oh yeah, wow, she is greedy, entitled. Like, you know what I'm saying? I come from that in culture, so I get it. I just don't understand why you would ask for that exorbitant amount, like straight up, and then be like, you better pay. 1,000? I was just thinking about. It's normal to send money back, but nowhere near that much. Yeah, it's the amount that bothers me. 300 to me is a good amount to send. As a car note, that's the electric bill in this house because fucking it's hot as fuck and they'd be wasting my good air. But anyways, and we have 2 refrigerators. Like, I can't even talk about it. Anyway, so like that is a bill. So I get that amount. But to me, any more than that is like that bill needs to be let go. Like whatever bill that is, I need to like get out of that binding. It's just a lot. Anyways, that's the end of it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be are you guys watching Indian matchmaking? I want you to watch Indian matchmaking. It's on Netflix. I think they think Lo has money and Asuelu has told them. Oh, but that's not Asuelu's money. Doesn't Asuelu gotta send his? Hey Lily, I love you. That like doesn't Asuelu? I don't know. Doesn't Lo have his own family to take care of? Chantal, I've been here for a whole hour and 11 minutes. Girl, you just got here? Anyways. Anyway, so Indian matchmaking. I'm going to finish watching it. I have some thoughts. I'm going to finish watching it, finish watching it. I'm going to start taking notes. And then I'm going to watch the other episodes and take notes on that. Because like, oh, girl. Wait. Who said it? Pamela, girl. Yes, Pamela. T-Rash. Okay, you guys, watch Indian matchmaking on Netflix. I'm going to have a review for you guys later this week because I have some things to say about colorism and about like different cultures and how they mesh. And some of the things that I love about the show, some of the things that I don't like about the show, but I'm interested in love. I have to acknowledge that I'm interested in love and how it works because it has evaded me my entire life. So like, I am always going to be watching these love shows. So anyways, whew, thank you. Please watch Indian matchmaking and then we can have a good informed conversation about it. What else am I watching? Oh, I'm watching Love on the Spectrum too, which I think is so cute. If you guys are watching Love on the Spectrum, it's where it's like a I don't know if it's a dating show. It's not really a dating show, but it's like showcasing people who are autistic and their desire to be in relationships and if they have Asperger's and or whatnot, and their journey on finding love. And I think it's funny and it's interesting. And my nephew is autistic, and so I'm always interested in seeing like autistic people as adults and like how they're getting along and what they're doing. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, Lily, watch it. Let me know if you like it. I just think it's so cute. It's cute, but it's also informative and it's interesting and it's just a lot. It's a lot and it's well done. It's good. What I've seen so far. Married at First Sight. I'm not Married at First Sight. Oh, Queen. What'd you say? Yes, the colorism is insane. A lot of them requested fair-skinned people. Ooh, girl, Queen. And Love After Lockup. Yo, I didn't even know Love After Lockup was back on again. So I gotta catch up with that. Oh God. Love After Lockup, Indian matchmaking, Love on the Spectrum, Married at First Sight. Girl, I gotta get caught up with all this stuff. All right, you guys. Well, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye. I want to stay on here and talk to you guys forever, but I gotta go do stuff. All right, you guys. I'm going to say bye. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me.